I'm Sally McDonough. Welcome to LBA's Intro to Dough. Today, we are going to do puff pastry. Sometimes you get perfect puff pastry, and sometimes you have problems. I'm going to show you the steps so that you will have perfect puff pastry every time. Let's take a look at these. This one is lopsided. First of all, when it was cut out, it wasn't cut straight up and down, and some of the egg wash was dripped down the side. That's made it pinch together on one edge and not bake off evenly. So this would have been maybe even a little taller but still lopsided, but what we did is we flipped a top over our pan before we baked it, and that makes nice, evenly puffed pastries. So let's get started. This is a 15 by 10 inch sheet of puff pastry. I've already done a few of the circles for you. I'm going to show you how to do bouchées today. So this is a 2.5 inch circle cutter and a 1 inch circle cutter. All we do with puff pastry is we thaw it until it's cold but pliable. That's very important because there are hundreds of layers of pastry dough, and it's the steam between the layers that makes it rise. So cut straight up and down to make your circles. If you're going in strips, use either a pizza cutter or cut like a guillotine. You don't want to crush any of those layers. So now I want to do my tops, and I have a little hole that we can put in a pan if we want to for little appetizers. And I'm going to put them on a parchment tray. So I need a bottom, and I'm going to do a couple of bottoms and a couple of tops. And if you're baking in a convection oven, you always want to make sure all of your corners are covered. So now all I need to do is go around the edges with a little bit of water. Water or egg wash acts like glue on puff pastry. So we want to make sure we don't drip it down the edges. Keep it nice and a little bit away from the edges. Then we're going to lay our little rings on top, and we're not going to push at it or do anything like that. The water will hold it down. I'm going to do a couple more little centers. So when you're cutting these out, you want to cut an even number of them. Lay them on there. We're ready to go. First, I'm going to egg wash it. Now, when you're egg washing, you always want to go in and not drip around the edges. The egg wash gives it some shine, and it also will hold it just a little bit better so the top layer doesn't flake off. Here's a little trick. If we want them even, we're going to carefully lay this on top, and then we're going to invert this tray, and that's how it's going to go in the oven. That way when they will bake all evenly. So while those are baking, I'm going to show you what we do with our scrap dough. We're going to make some cheese sticks out of the leftovers. And I'm going to kind of try to lay the dough on top of each other, not form it into a ball like you're making pie dough. Because it's a layered dough, we want to keep it layered. But I have to roll it out into something that I can make cheese sticks out of. So I'm going to kind of pile it like that. It's very important that you bake puff pastry in a preheated hot oven. I go up to about 375 in my convection oven, and you could even go to 400 in a conventional oven. That nice hot heat is what makes the steam pop the layers. So another important tip is you really don't want to leave your puff pastry out at room temperature for very long, because those layers will start to moosh together and they won't rise. So we're going to sprinkle this with a little bit of water. Actually, that'll hold our cheese down just a hair. Then I'm going to throw the Parmesan on. We're going to cut them into kind of strips. And you know, these are not meant to look perfect. going to be a little bit rustic looking. With puff pastry, you can actually bake the empty holders, like our Bouchées, 2 or 3 times a week, and as long as you keep them at room temperature, lightly covered with parchment, they will stay nice and dry and ready for you to fill them with sweet or savory fillings. The key is, puff pastry doesn't like to be refrigerated because it picks up extra moisture in a refrigerator, and you don't want to close it in a plastic bag for the same reason. So if you can remember those tips, and what a lot of caterers will do is they will bake their puff pastry off a couple days in advance, and then they will fill them right before their party with a pastry bag. So these are ready to go. You could add a little bit of herbs or garlic if you wanted. So we're going to make a salmon appetizer, and I will show you how to do that. We've got some prepared salmon mousse, and then I rolled up a little bit of smoked salmon. It's very simple. You can punch down the bottom a little bit if you need a little more mousse in there. Add your filling. Decorate it with your smoked salmon. Take a couple of little bits of garnish, and you are ready to go. There you have it. Perfect puff pastry Bouchées. Remember, thaw only what you need until cold and pliable. Shape them, bake them in a hot oven, and you too can have perfect puff pastry every time.